All right, so now we're gonna step out of the sun and get into some shade and talk about the Margie Yates Jenkins Azalea Garden. So this garden was actually established to celebrate Miss Margie and her contributions to horticulture, the nursery industry, and plant materials, as well as to educate people on all the plant materials that she collected and loved. Unfortunately, she passed away this year at the young age of 98. So this garden has undergone some significant changes in the past few years. We've had major storm damage, bring down some trees, snap some trees in half. We've had the floods of 2016. And so there's a lot of evolution in this garden. Something else we've noticed in the past few years is this garden is maturing. And so a lot of the plants seem to get overcrowded and not have the space. So we've taken efforts to open up and breathe in new life to this garden, and you will notice a lot of the areas around me kind of seem more open. They have more light. They're not as shaded and crowded as they were before. Also, this past spring we had an intern in landscape architecture come out and work with us and really did a great job showing us how to change with the garden and how to ensure that this garden will last forever with the slight modifications that we need to keep the initial focus and initial mission going. One last thing I can't fail to mention is the support this garden in particular has from our donors and our appreciation. Nearly all the plant materials in this garden are donated by local or regional nurseries, growers, or landscapers, and as well as significant funding from different societies, volunteer work that helps us keep this garden going to the levels that we are. We thank you so much for all your contributions and your help, and I hope you enjoy these plants. We typically promote this garden in the spring at our spring open house, also aptly named the Margie Jenkins Lecture Series and Open House. And that's because most of our plants in here are flowering heavily in the spring or in the winter. Although year-round we actually do get a great display of color and some lush green vegetation. I'm going to take a few minutes to show a few of our favorite plants, and one of mine is this osmanthus right here, sweet olive, as most of you might know. And it doesn't look any different than most osmanthus you have right now, except for in the spring this flower is completely orange, and it's just a really spectacle that you can see. The same wonderful smell you know from any other sweet olive, but just with bright, vivid orange flowers. It's really a show. So we absolutely love deciduous hybrid magnolias here at the Hammond Research Station, and there's so many to choose from. Now most of you know these deciduous magnolias because they bloom so prolifically in late winter, early spring. But we actually really like them as shade trees, and they're just lush green throughout the whole summer. And then when those blooms fall off, or right before the leaves fall off, right before the blooms, you have a really picturesque tree that looks very good without leaves or blooms. So it's just fantastic year round. This one in particular is Betty from the Little Girl series, which we absolutely love.
So here we have the Azalea Triloba, also known as the pawpaw tree. Native to North America, has attractive dark green foliage and kind of a tropical appearance. It doesn't require much attention in the garden, but it's thriving here in our raised beds with equal parts sun and shade. This is actually the host plant for the zebra swallowtail butterfly. A few months back, our primary pawpaw tree, the parent plant, kind of over to the right of your frame, was actually pruned by Mother Nature when a storm came through and a large pine tree fell on it. But as you can see to the left, the shoots are coming up actually from the roots, forming a colonial thicket in which the shoots are actually genetically identical to the parent plant.
So here in the azalea garden, we really have a lot of bloom power in the spring, but we do have things that bloom throughout the year, and this is one of our favorites in the summer. This is Gordiana. It's a hybrid of the Franklinia and the Gordiana plant, and this is called Sweet Tea. It's got this beautiful large white bloom. You can see the size of it. The petals flutter in the wind, and this is one of Miss Margie's favorite plants to bloom in summer. So in keeping in name with the azalea garden, obviously we're going to feature as many azalea cultivars as we can. So one of our favorite displays here are the Encore Azalea series that was developed by Mr. Buddy Lee, who lives just north here of the station. And so what Buddy really introduced were these reblooming azaleas, and you can see it's hot, we're in the middle of July, but these azaleas are still going, and that's the hallmark of the Encore. You get a big spring bloom, then you move into a summer bloom and even a fall bloom. And that was something Miss Margie also contributed to. A lot of the new azaleas that she introduced to the market had a summer bloom or even a fall bloom to them so that you could extend the bloom season and enjoy azaleas most of the year.